Hey there, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We are here in London with the cast and filmmakers of Men in Black International. We have the amazing director, F. Gary Gray, stars of the film Tessa Thompson, Chris Hemsworth, and Kumail Nanjiani. And we've got our producers, Laurie MacDonald and Walter Parks. So let's get this chat started, shall we? All right, first question is going off to Gary. So you have done both action and comedy. What was it like infusing these two styles into a sci-fi film?
Action and comedy. Well, I had a lot of fun shooting my first movie, Friday. And I had a lot of fun shooting my last movie, Fate of the Furious, which has a lot of action. I've never done a sci-fi film, so it was just great to infuse all three genres. It was a lot of fun. It was great to work with Laurie, with Tessa, with Chris, with Kamal, and with Walter. It was just great across the board.
That's amazing. And so Chris and Tessa, you first took on the Marvel universe. Now you're in the MIB universe. What is it that you guys have that allows you to tackle multiple universes?
How much time do you have?
A lot of time.
Because we have a lot. What do we have?
What do we have? I don't know. I mean, we just had so much fun working on Thor, and then Avengers, and this opportunity came up, and it was, you know, the huge advantage and a no-brainer to jump on board with Tessa, just because, you know, we have a pre-established friendship, chemistry, understand each other's rhythms. Most of the time, shooting, you can spend so much of the shoot trying to find those things, you know,
Yeah.
and then you think, oh, God, I wish we could go back and reshoot the start now that we do know each other. So you get to hit the ground running, and you trust one another to take risks and improvise and do things. You know, you've got each other's back, and so it's just a dream, that scenario. So
Chris, one thing you have is he grew up in the bush. Did you grow up in the bush? Kind of. A bush adjacent.
I did, yeah,
And
in the bush, yeah.
him and his brothers, you may know them, Liam and Luke Hemsworth, played guns, like you like fake guns and swords and stuff. So you're really good at that. Like in those sequences,
right.
you're like, no, you are. He's naturally very gifted at it because you can feel kind of silly doing those things, you know. Because sometimes you have like a fake sword, but you're so.
Well, you said to me
good.
that before once about and I was like, this is what I did as a kid, like all day long, and as an adult now as well, as a bigger kid.
I don't think you've grown up.
As a taller kid, yeah.
As the tallest kid anyone's ever seen.
And so we got a Facebook fan question from Lauren Damon. She asked, would MIB apprehend Thor and Valkyrie since they are from space?
Men in Black don't apprehend everyone from space, just
Yeah.
the bad guys.
True.
Yeah.
That's right. The scum in the universe.
Yeah, we might try and recruit them. I think
Yeah.
utilize their skills.
Your character might try to. Never mind.
This is what I had to deal with.
Right.
On set every day. That's right.
Have a crack at it.
I don't know.
Both of them?
With Thor? Yeah.
Crack at myself?
Yeah, I think H would hook up with
Oh,
Thor.
that's fan fiction. I want to
would
see
love
like
it.
two of your
Yeah.
characters together.
Yeah.
Pride Month.
So Walter and Laurie, Lay from Twitter asks, how does it feel to be revitalizing such an iconic series? So tell me, what was it like revisiting this franchise that's so beloved?
Scary to take it on, and it's actually the first movie we produced together. So, so it was scary, but it's also a movie that's really very special to us because of that reason. And we didn't want to do it until we felt we had a story and characters that warranted it, especially since we were no longer going to be, working with the original cast. So that was key, kind of finding a story that seemed worth telling, and it was really, these two, in fact, we were a little, we loved Thor and loved both of them in it. A little bit, the only, to us, negative is does it look like we have no imagination, we just cast them again. But they were so, there was no one else to play these roles in my mind. There's so many gifted actors, but you find as a producer, often it comes down to, they better say yes, or I'm not sure we have a movie.
That's true.
We're lucky, right?
And
You've
if it
had that
ain't broke,
experience as well. Yeah.
Don't fix it.
Yeah.
They're great.
So Kumail,
What she said, but louder.
And Kumail, I heard you were a fan of the franchise beforehand. Were you a fan before?
Of Men in Black?
Yes.
Yeah, of
And-
course.
And so what was it like joining this group and this new take and continuation of the franchise?
I mean, I was, when they called me to do it, I was,
That's not what happened.
Gary's got this other version of the story.
There's just the truth.
Gary, tell your version that's a
No,
lie.
I'm not going to interrupt. I'm going to let you speak.
No,
But I want you to tell the truth.
Gary says that he asked me to do it and I said no, which is completely untrue.
Well, we were at the Black Panther premiere, and I'm a huge fan.
And I'm a huge fan of Gary's. I was very excited to meet
I don't
him.
know if I felt that, but we were at the Black Panther premiere, and I love Silicon Valley, and I loved all of your stuff, the stand-up and everything. And I said, I have a great role. I hadn't even signed on to this franchise yet. I read the script, and I read the part of Pawnee, and I thought he would be perfect. And I saw you just by chance, and you said what?
This is not true. You say, his version of the story is he came up to me and said, there's something I want you to be in. And he says, I said, I don't do comedies anymore, which is completely untrue.
Okay.
What happened was, you came up to me, I said, I'm a huge fan, very excited to meet you. And you said, I'm doing something that might be something for you in it. And I was like, I will do whatever you have. I would love to work with you. And then I read a couple weeks later that you were doing Men in Black, and I got excited. I was like, I hope he was talking about Men in Black. So that's the real version of the story.
Okay, that's right. You can answer his question. I just wanted to kind of put you on the spot.
I suspect neither of those stories.
So I was very excited to meet him, and he said, there's something, and I was like, of course, anything.
Yeah, something like that. No, it was great. It's just being an alien assassin was different, right? It was
The what?
to be an alien assassin with Pawnee. It was different for you.
I'd never done anything like this before. I was excited to do Men in Black. I was excited to work with these guys. I was excited to work with him, with them. And I just had never done a CG character like that. So I was excited to work with these people, but also for the actual work of it, because it's a kind of performance that I'd never done before.
Wow. And you killed it.
Thank you so much.
Yes, you did. And so, Gary, tell us about Chris and Tessa's dynamic on-screen chemistry. So we have a Twitter question from Sarah. She wanted to know, what were your favorite aspects about the characters, and how'd you bring those to life?
Well, I mean, the characters, they operate from different places. They're both agents, but, one kind of operates and works by the book, and the other one's kind of flies wild and loose with the rules. And it's really fun. It's really fun to watch them operate. And so for me, I've made a few ensemble films or films with ensemble cast, like Fate of the Furious or Italian Job and things like that. And as a director, you have to work really hard to get that chemistry, and they have it naturally. And so it's not only fun to direct, it's also fun to watch for me. And that's one of the best dynamics, just to direct. It's a lot easier for me. It's a lot more entertaining, and it's just a lot more fun.
Wow. And so, Chris, what was the most intriguing thing about the MIB universe that drew you into this?
I just love the original films. I thought they were incredibly unique. I have such vivid memories of, the opening few shots of that film and Will Smith running through the street tracking down the alien, and then or the guy realizing he's an alien, and just the sort of charisma, the charm. Even the way it was shot, technically, you often feel like you're looking right down the lens, or you as an audience, they're looking right at you, and so it's very immersive in that sense. You say a unique blend of sort of cop film mixed with sci-fi, but the opportunity to sort of take advantage of what wonderfully was done before and not remake it, but continue it on, and expand it onto a sort of a global setting like we've done, and which is why we shot in London and Paris and Morocco and Italy and New York. And so it felt, kind of like a working holiday in that sense, that we just got to travel around the world. And then the people, the script was fantastic, and it was something different to what I'd done before too. So.
Right, and so Walter, this franchise, as Chris was speaking to, it's so beloved. What is it about this franchise? Why do people love it so much?
I think something that's different about Men in Black is that it takes place in the real world.
Yeah.
So you have this opportunity to show the audience something that if they look more closely, they would see it themselves. And I think that's what really sets us apart. I remember as a kid, I used to walk out of a James Bond movie, sort of like you did as a kid, pretending I had a gun. Well, in the same way, I remember we used to talk about, we'd love it for people to walk out of Men in Black, and when they saw the steam coming up from the sidewalk in New York, say, is that really the subway, or is that something we're not aware of? I think that's an ever-present value in it. And the other thing is, because it's about human characters, it gives you the opportunity to cast great actors and let them show their stuff. They're sort of the counterpoint to this fabulous world that's all around them. And those two things were true back then, and I hope they're true now.
So Tessa, first off, congratulations on your Time Next Gen cover.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Yes. So obviously you have a meaningful voice with this generation. And did your activist perspective shape the way you played Agent M? And describe your character's journey and how she got to be this lead woman in black.
Oh, that's such a good question. I mean, I don't know. For me, my activism is seamless with my work. It's hard to disconnect those elements. I feel like the things that we do, we have the opportunity not just to reflect the world in which we live, but to create it. Something that I've always loved about these movies is that they celebrate our differences, that they show us that it's possible for us to coexist even if we come from different places. I love that about the Men in Black franchise. Obviously, because it's called Men in Black and I am not a man, there's always been women in these narratives. I'm so happy that Emma Thompson came back, and I'm such a huge fan of her and talking about activism. She has it in spades. But it's the first time we've seen a woman at the forefront of one of these stories, and I think inside of it, something I've also loved about the films forever is they're sort of subversive. They talk about issues of race and immigration inside of this zany world. I thought inside of our film there's an opportunity to talk about what it is like to be a woman inside of male-dominated spaces. And I think that we got to do that a little bit, that we get to talk about sort of privilege. Sometimes we're unaware that we have it.
You're talking about my character. Yes, the character of H's.
I think that was something that we talked about in infusing inside of it. I love that these films, one of my favorite moments in any of the Men in Black films is when this guy gets sucked into the car and Tommy says to Will, does every model come with one of those, meaning the driver? And Will says, yes, he used to be black, but he kept getting pulled over. And I love that. There's a chance to really talk about real world things inside of a world that is a skosh more inventive than ours is. And I think that we were able to do that a little bit inside of this. So for me, it's like I'm always looking at every opportunity. I don't think that the things that we make should feel like medicine. They should go down easy. But if you have the chance to say something about the world in which we live, why not? So I hope that we did that in whatever way made sense inside of this narrative.
Great. And so speaking of Emma Thompson, Gary, there's so many talented actors and such a fun ensemble. We have a fan question from @TroneMama on Twitter. How was working with the two most talented lead twins, Laurent and Larry?
Oh, well.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Thompson and Thompson. That was a misdirection question.
You can answer that.
No, go ahead.
No, they're like working with little brothers. I love them. I met them back in 2012. And I actually kind of tracked them down because I saw they had a just amazing dance performance on YouTube. And I said, I want to meet these guys. And I met them. And I said, you are not only incredible dancers, I think you should be on the big screen. And someday we're going to work with each other. And Men in Black came along, and I talked to the producers in the studio. And I said, you know what? I actually think that we should massage the script a little bit and track these guys down and see if they would be, open to playing these parts. And I flew to France and met with them and said, hey, listen, remember when we talked, 6, 7, 8 years ago about the working with each other on movies? I said, well, I have an opportunity. Are you open to it? They're like, hell yeah, we're open to it. And the rest is history. They're great. They're extremely talented, and I think they have an amazing, amazing future.
Amazing, cool. Well, I'm gonna go down the line and you guys have to come up with one adjective to describe Men in Black International. So I'm gonna start with Gary, so get ready, going down the line.
I learned this term here in London, chucklesome.
Chucklesome.
Chucklesome. What does it mean?
Maybe you should stay in London.
Troublesome, that's so cute.
It's funny to me. I'll figure out what it means later. Go ahead.
I don't know. Delightful?
Delightful.
Yeah.
Epic.
Ooh.
I learned this word here yesterday. It was some show in Soho. And they had these adjectives about how great it was. Stonking.
Stonking.
What does it mean?
By the way,
It was
that might not
positive.
be good.
No, it said 4 stars.
good.
It said stonking 4 stars. So
Why does it
stonking
sound? What
4
could that
stars?
be? A combination of 2 stinking?
it's like this movie is
Stonking,
stonking.
All right.
You know, like how is it?
Stonk of a time.
Oh yeah, you're gonna stonk it up when you see this movie.
Oh, you stonk.
No, she says no.
Stonking?
You guys just made up a couple
One
words.
word.
Wow. I've never said one word in my life.
Are you
attest to
capable?
that.
He's not capable of saying such. Sounds kind of vague, but I feel and I felt, hopefully we got the script, and certainly when we gathered this amazing group of people to make the movie, that I think the movie's fresh, that there's something about it that feels fresh and breezy and original, but, you know, relatable, hopefully. That's like 10 words.
I know, I
sorry.
love it.
I did go on and on.
Fresh is good.
Just fresh.
I'm going to share the secret to our long relationship. Fresh.
See, I could have used fun. I was going to use fun, but I thought someone else was going to use it. All right.
Perfect.
Stonking.
Well, we are out of time, but I did want to say congratulations, Gary,
Thank
on
you.
your the receiving a star on the Walk of Fame.
Oh, thank you.
So I just want to know, what did that mean to you?
Wow, it was a flat-out honor, and again to be, set alongside some amazing artists, some of the greatest artists in history. Steven Spielberg is, a part of this project and part of this franchise, and to even be, mentioned in the world with artists like that is amazing. So it was a great honor.
That's so great. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, guys, and submitting your fan questions. And go see Men in Black International.
Yes.
When does the movie, when do people
June 14th.
June 14th.
June 14th. That's when it comes out.
Yeah.
Go see it.
It's gonna
Story
be
line.
stonking.
I forgot my line.
Big surprise.